Hello guys, this is Mohit Gowda from Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering, Bangalore, Department of Computer Science and Engineering. So today we are going to learn about what are all the types of flat plate collectors. So what are all flat plate collectors? Right? What are flat plate collectors? A flat plate collectors is a heat exchanger that uses solar radiations to heat a working fluid. The working fluid is usually liquid or air. The collector is a black surface that is placed at a convenient path of the sun. In flat plate collectors, there is no optical concentrations of sunlight and they are generally stationary. The outlet temperature capability is lesser than 100 degrees Celsius. So a typical flat plate collectors is a metal box with a glass or plastic cover called glazing, which is at the top of a flat plate collectors, right? Here we have an only one glazing. If we want to reduce the heat, then we can add one or more glazings, to minimize the data heat loss. It is placed on the top of the flat plate collectors and dark colored observer plate on the bottom for a maximum absorption. It has been coated with in black. The slides and bottom of the collectors are usually installed to minimum heat loss. So components of an flat plate collectors. Coming to an components, first one is an observer plate which absorbs the radiations. Right? The plate is usually made up of copper, steel, or plastic. The surface is covered with a black material of high absorbance. A selective coating can be used to minimize the absorption of solar energy and minimizes the radiations emitted by the plate. So here the flat plate collectors, which has an glazing at the top of the flat plate collectors. There is an outlet, inlet, and observer plate, right, which is coated with in black for a maximum absorptions and insulations, which is being placed, and then flow tubes, and it is also have an header, right. This is a header. So coming to in second component, flow passages. The flow passages carry the work fluid through the collectors. The work fluid If the work fluid is liquid, the flow passages is usually a tube that is attached to or part of observer plate. If the working fluid is in here, the flow passage can have different configurations. So coming to a third component, that is in cover plate, which is also called as in glazing. To reduces the convections and radiation heat loss from the observer, one or two transparent covers, that is glazings, are generally placed above the observer plate. They are usually made up of glass or plastic. If you place more glazing, then it reduces the heat losses. So the another component is insulations. So there are some materials such as fiberglass, and they are placed at the back and slides of the collector to reduce heat losses. So fifth component is enclosure, a box that encloses the collector to hold all the components together, protect them from weather, and it also facilitates installations in the roof or of appropriate frame. Right, it has been placed right in the figure. We can see that, and it has been placed to the solar radiations where we are having an glazing sheets to minimize as the heat loss, and also an observer which observes the heat. Then coming to types of flat plate collectors. The flat plate collectors are basically divided into two categories according to their use: water or liquid heaters, air heaters. Right, here we have in water or liquid heater, air heater. Then again, water or liquid heater is divided into an pipe and fin type, water sandwich type, next semi sandwich type. Next, coming to an air heater, there are three types: finite plate, metal matrix, corrugulated plate with selection surface. So coming to in components of liquid flat plate collectors. So this is structure of a liquid flat plate collectors, right? There is an cover plates or glasses at the above and liquid outlet, side casing which is an insulated, and then black insulations, and then it has a liquid inlet and liquid pipes, black and observer plates for the observation. This is a typical liquid flat plate collectors. So this is how it looks like. Next, what are all the components of liquid flat plate collectors? Includes glazing, right, which may be one or more sheets of glass or other diatomaceous, that is radiations transmitting material. As shown in the figure, tubes, fins, or passages for conducting or directing the heat transfer fluid from the inlet to the outlet, and it also has an observer plate which may be flat, coagulated, or grooved with tubes, fins, or passages attached to it. Next, fourth component of liquid flat plate collectors is header or manifolds to admit and discharge the fluid, insulations which minimizes heat loss from the back and sides of the collector, and it also contains container or casing which surrounds the various components and protects them from dust, moisture, etc. So coming to an types and types of an components and its advantages and disadvantages, right? Types of these are some types of an water plate. Another one is an right. These are the types and its advantages and disadvantages. So pipes and fin all copper. Its advantages is good corrosion resistance, low thermal capacity, and disadvantages it is expensive. Next, pipe and fin composite. That is example includes copper pipe and aluminum fin, right? So its advantages is fairly cheap, good internal corrosion resistance, low thermal capacity, flexibility in their choices of materials, possibility of external bimetallic corrosion unless suitably protected. So semi-water sandwich plastic. Its advantage is cheap and light, and its disadvantages is limited of low temperature applications, liable to UV damage, high thermal expansions, high thermal capacity. Semi-water sandwich steel or examples include pressed steel radiators. Its advantage is fairly cheap, readily available, and disadvantages is long-term corrosion problems suitable for closed systems only, heavy high thermal capacity. Next one, semi water, which is sandwich or aluminum. Examples includes roll bond type. Its advantages is fairly cheap, lightweight. Disadvantages is very susceptible to internal corrosion, especially in mixed metal circuits. So these are structures of in water systems, and this is an air systems. Air systems, it has an glazing at the top and air passages. It also has an coagulated sheets and also airflow, metal matrix, and insulations. So this is all about flat plate collectors. Thank you.